Welcome to Inner Voice of Knowing podcast. I'm Kaye Doran, a shamanic leadership coach and healer, guiding you through life with a foot in both worlds. When you understand the terrain of the inner landscapes, the mental, emotional, spiritual and energetic, you will become the leader within your physical life, both personally and professionally. After all, the power of change is in your hands. Let's get this journey started. Welcome back to Inner Voice of Knowing. Welcome into the new year, 2026, and Year of the Fire Horse as of mid-February. I've really sat and questioned deeply within myself about this conversation that we're going to have today, or this topic that I really feel that I need to address. And it's just yes. My knowing is yes. This needs to be talked about because the old ways in spirituality have been either dissolved or disappeared completely. And more often than not, that's because the elders haven't been around to teach us. Communities have broadened into a global community. We have social media. The world has just gotten larger in many respects. And so there is no judgment on anybody with anything that I'm going to say today. But truth is beyond the shadow of the belief system. And I've been walking this path for almost literally weeks away from 61 years. And very consciously for maybe 35, 36 years working with others, and even before then for myself. And I think if we hold back from truth, because there is a universal truth beyond the belief systems, and I know my belief systems, my false stories and beliefs have been shifting for a very long time. Because growth doesn't stop. The cycles of transformation, of renewal, of deepening our remembering and our understanding and expanding our capacity, increasing the frequency of our energy. It's an ongoing, deepening, renewing, cycling process. There we have it. And all too often in this world, we hold back from speaking truth. I had someone in a group that I was facilitating just yesterday who finally stood in front of a group of people and spoke her truth from a place of power. Now, how do we know it's from a place of power? Because there was no desire to prove. She couldn't sit back any longer and just not speak. Everything within her was like, say this. Power isn't here to prove. Power isn't here to be loud. Power isn't here with anything other than the emanation through the words and through your energy and through your physical presence, to be laid out on the table, if you will. If people feast, great. If not, that's okay. But delivered in that quiet way. And I mean quiet because it's not like I'm here to prove something to you. It's not coming from, you must believe me because this is what I believe. When it comes from a depth of knowing, it comes from soul, it comes from source, therefore it comes from love, and it comes from grace. And people respond to the energetic frequency of those intentions. That energy goes out, it envelopes, it opens, it ignites. And you see it reflected back because there's nothing to prove. And one of the things that's missing from spiritual growth is the true awareness of initiations. We once used to have master shamans, people in places of spiritual authority through their own initiation processes, through their own trials and tribulations, and the deepening of understanding of spiritual principles and energetic principles, truth, if you will, embodying it, having it fully integrated so that we live, as a friend of mine says, at that interception of the foot in both worlds, that point of connection, bridging that gap, which is actually the heart center. From the unseen world to the seen world, from the spiritual realm to the physical realm. And we don't necessarily have those processes and those teachers in place in quite the same way. You're used to enter orders and go through the initiations and the trials, and now they happen in life. But do we have the awareness that we're actually being initiated? And the reason I'm called to speak about this is because there are many phases through growth. And as we expand our capacity, as we're learning more, as we're being immersed in greater, deeper truths, as we're shedding skins, if we want to talk about it in terms of the year of the snake, everyone's talking about, oh, I'm doing my final shed. And then we enter that year of the horse, fast movement and courage and things happening, but we have to be mindful of the fire energy, that we don't burn out. So there's a shedding process. There's that double elastic band, as you've heard me talk about, moving from old ways as we leave that behind, but it's trying to pull you back, moving into a new way. So you feel all the new, that new expression of who you are and that becoming. A lot in the spiritual community will now call that my next version, my upgraded version, 2.0, a lot of people are saying. But here's the thing, there's also that moment where the ego plays out. And we can have that element of the spiritual ego as well. And if I don't speak out about this, how do you as the listeners have the opportunity to hear this, to receive this? Because if I don't speak truth of what I see taking place, but the truth holds no judgment, it just holds a message of love. It holds that seed of truth that I can deliver and share through many, many, many years of experience and understanding energy. And if we don't speak truth from this place of what I call quiet power, if I don't lay that on the table, then I'm suppressing. I'm joining the game. Don't say something that might upset or trigger somebody else. But guess what? If there's a response like that, the message has started working. The message has started speaking. So when listening to this episode, if you feel the need to defend, reflect. If you feel that it creates a bit of a trigger, there's truth. These are the beautiful and exquisite moments when that breaking open can happen. Think of the Tower card in the tarot. The deconstructing of self, of one way of being and thinking and feeling and responding to emerge out of that rubble. Another metaphor like the phoenix rising. But sometimes we're so quick to feel like, to think, to want to be in that next version of ourselves that we're not aware that the process hasn't quite completed itself. And we can talk about this subject as well in terms of the masculine energy and the feminine energy. And a lot of what takes place, especially, and I speak deeply to the women, but this can also be associated with men, but they play it out in a different way. So I'm speaking to the women. There can be a masculine energy that we mistake as feminine power. And there's a recalibration that's needing to happen within ourselves that frees the masculine in men to actually embrace their feminine and harmonize with their masculine energies as well. But the confusion, and I'm going to point it out here, is we can claim titles for ourselves. I have the title shaman because that's the way that I was born. I've been initiated and initiated and initiated, but I'm very aware it's just a title. I'm very aware that I speak and address with people that, same as the title of a coach or leadership coach or whatever it is, I'm merely a guide that knows the terrain. I'm a woman, a soulful woman on her journey, happy to be a soulful woman on her consciousness journey. But I do understand the terrain. I've been through many initiations and rites of passage. And I don't claim certain archetypes myself. I don't give them to myself. Let me explain. A title is not to be claimed simply because we choose to claim it. It is a state that we are initiated into. The example for me was, yes, I was born shaman, but I needed to have certain experiences. Yes, I was told at the age of 4, but that memory was not brought back to me until my mid-20s, when I was told directly from source. And I did not want to believe it. I did not want to own it. I did not want to or wish to accept it. You've heard me talk about this before, because I felt in the energy and the responsibility of it. I questioned ego and all the rest of it. The title shaman had never, ever entered my thought process before until after I let go of the embodied trance channeling. That's further back in episodes, maybe introduced in the first episode. You can have a listen and hear that story, or reach out to me if you'd like to know more about that. But what I'm saying is I didn't claim it. It was given to me via initiations. And what sparked this discussion, what sparked this conversation, because I'm happy for you to interact, through, you can put in notes, you can reach out to me. I'm open to discussions. I'm going to call on 2 archetypes today in this conversation, and I'll explain why. The first one is the language that we use around becoming a second version of ourselves. We have upgraded. And these are the kinds of things that I'm reading and that I'm hearing, that I experience energetically as quite jarring. I understand it. I've been through so many phases of initiation and growth. The fact that we call ourselves a queen And then we follow with statements such as, I'm unfuckable with. I even find it hard to think to remember the words because they're illusionary words that we draw upon. As a developing spiritual woman, we perceive when that is said, when that is claimed, I'm in my power. Now let's pull this apart just a little bit. When we are truly within our power, it is held within us. We don't need to throw it out there. We don't need to claim it. Because the moment we're saying something like that, I'm unfuckwithable, we haven't embodied our power. We are in the process of embodying our power. It has not integrated. Couple of things here. It is an incredibly masculine energy. Because when that power is embodied, it can be spoken from strength through truth, through our words, through our actions, through our embodiment. It resonates and emanates out from the very core of who we are. And in the need to state it in such a masculine, energetic way means we're in a stance of fight and also self-protection. Because no one, excuse the expression, can fuck with me. Because I see every single soul playing a part for me in my journey inwards and understanding and remembering the power of who I am, the potential of who I am, the beauty of who I am, the connection of who I am to all people and all things. So there's no threat to me. There's no stance like that I need to take. Have I experienced the very thing I'm talking about? Yeah, I have. And even as I was in that state, I kept questioning, going, hold on a moment. If we really tune into what we're saying, how we're responding, and how it feels, and where do we feel that in our body, we know the truth. The truth of the energy is speaking to us. So before we put these statements up and out there saying we're in our second version, our upgraded version, and we're needing to deliver it like that, no. And why does it need to be announced? What's really being declared to everybody? I leave a pause there because there in itself is the power for us to self-reflect, to self-question. And a queen does not just get to claim she's a queen. A woman doesn't need to claim she's a queen. It comes through initiation. You are initiated into it. You become the queen of your inner kingdom. Comes through initiations and trials and tribulations, through your landscape of your mind and of the emotional, overcoming discomfort, to deepen your understanding, to meet and greet and embody and face truth, spiritual truth. And that does not happen overnight. We don't give it to ourselves or declare it to ourselves. It is bestowed by Source in a most unexpected way. And when it is, when you've been handed your scepter and you've been called queen by Source, it is humbling. It is calm. There is grace. And there is absolutely no need to tell everybody else, because you become that energy. You move into service without any need for applause. A deep humility exists. And in the very speaking to others that I am queen, will say that you're not there yet. Because you don't need to tell others. We integrate those qualities. We've been initiated into it. And it emanates through our thinking, through our feelings, through our thoughts, through our actions, through our presence, through our energetic resonance. And the queen archetypal energy embodied means you sit there and you see that potential through the eyes of every other woman. And I say potential. I have some women that work with me that know themselves to have the medicine woman within them. And then things are happening and I will say, you cannot afford to be the victim in this. You are medicine woman in training. You are going through initiations. If you say, I am medicine woman, universe is going to go, are you? Show me. Demonstrate. Embody that archetypal energy. And that's why we can't judge along the process love, compassion, understanding, and forgiveness. Because we're learning to calibrate and harmonize the masculine of the doing, of the achieving, of the actions with the feminine, of the creative, of that knowing, of that nurturing, which all must begin within. And when that archetype is embodied, when that gift is bestowed upon you through deep level initiation, you are more humbled. So it is not yelled from the mountaintops. It is only shared with those in your deepest inner circle that will understand. And all you're sharing is the experience. There's no ego involved with it. It doesn't need to be stated and said out loud. It is an embodiment. It is spoken through your actions, through your feelings, through your thoughts. It is part of that integrated, reclaimed aspect of self. Now here's another one. The goddess. I've been witnessing and observing some women saying how much they've pissed off MFS, mother, fuggers, let me just say. The goddess in them has pissed them off. But even the need to call them MFs or to state that you've pissed them off, again, you can give yourself the title. of goddess. But the goddess is invoked through the initiation process. You don't claim it. You're initiated into it. And then you live and breathe and emanate as the goddess. Is the goddess going to write a post on social media or behave in such a way that communicates in such, again, an aggressive, masculine, forceful energy that they're pissing off people by being that way? The goddess embodies that intuition, that knowing, fused with discernment, has gone through great emotional initiations, has gone through then the rites of passage to integrate, to have embodied, to then be expressed at that interception, that point of harmonic resonance, and that expression at that bridge, which is the heart of the unseen to the seen, the spiritual, energetic to the physical. There is a sensuality without even proving it. It's just an embodiment of that sensual, powerful energy. There's an absolute softening into grace and humility, but you have an incredibly strong spine, backbone. The goddess will see the potential of the goddess that exists within every other woman. And her intention is not to piss off anybody, because that's not how the goddess energy works. Or find the need to do the MFS, mother fuggers. If the goddess truly knows, if we truly know as the woman and the women that we are, that it is of no, it's not my business of what another person says or thinks about me. And when we truly know that, we stay calm. Number one, we have no need to splash it about. Number two, that energy might be confronting, but when you're in that energy, when you've gone through your initiations and your rites of passage, and it's a state that you have achieved and earned through depth of hardship and integrating spiritual truth into it and shedding that old and integrating into those qualities, again, you don't claim that title. You wear that presence from the inside out. That power of that presence emanates out. And you understand that anyone that has difficulty with that, it is our truth and responsibility to continue to harness that energy from love, to say, hey, the challenge you're having, the trigger you're feeling, is because the power or what you see in me, you haven't yet embraced and owned and found out how to express that from deep within yourself, sister. The authenticity is the integration, the embodiment of it, and the expression through humility, through grace, through the power that you have achieved within yourself. So I invite you not to bring judgment if you've been playing this out within your life and on social media. The invitation is to allow this to land. because I say this from someone with depth of experience, wisdom of the journey and of age, from an absolute knowing. Someone who has walked through those phases and journeyed through those phases. So I understand. So this is not a judgment. This is a conversation and an invitation to reflect, to let go of the energetic stance of those comments, which means there's a fight, there's a resistance, you're in the process, you're right at that precipice, that you don't need to announce to the world that you're queen, that you're goddess, that you're unfuckwithable. Because people will feel that with no threat when you have truly embodied it, because it comes from the threshold of the heart, which is love. It comes from the absolute knowing that you call others into this truth, that you guide them across their terrain, that you remember where you too have once walked and how you've once thought and where you've once been and where you've once lived. And that as spiritual guides, we're not here to berate others, to judge others, to defend others, to determine boundaries to keep others out. It's not our business what someone else does with the boundaries we have set. It's determined about how we live within those parameters, the choices that we make. If someone consistently, when you've lovingly communicated to that, whether you walk away to create space, whether you walk away for good, how you communicate to them. But if you've got any level of fight, any level of ego, any need to claim these titles, please remember they are initiation processes. They are long, relentless, until we learn. It is the putting us into that pressure cooker, turning us into gold. If we want to talk about all the diamond, those alchemical moments and how much we bring that change to the mind, to the emotions, to the body, to the energy, to the frequency that we express. So if you're at the place of any that I've been talking about, please accept the invitation. Please complete the process. Please reach out if you feel the need to discuss this. And remember, truth is not spoken with aggression. Truth is not delivered like a blow. Truth is delivered with love and grace, compassion, understanding. Truth comes when you look through the eyes of another and you recognize their soul. I hope this lands well for you. I hope this ignites some insight for you. I hope this allows you to truly embody more of the power of the feminine, because true power has a force to it, but not a blow. When you are empowered, it's quietly held within you. Doesn't mean you don't set boundaries, doesn't mean you don't speak truth. But it's delivered from love, compassion, understanding, forgiveness. And the power is in the delivery of it coming from the heart, from grace. That doesn't mean it doesn't have strength. You can be soft with an incredibly strong core spine. Let's get a conversation going. I'm more than happy for that. But for now, let's remember the ancient sacred ways. And what is your spiritual journey and your intention on your spiritual journey? What is at the core of it? Is it to be inquisitive? Is it to pierce the illusions that have become intrusions? Is it to understand that truth exists beyond the shadow of the belief system? And to recognize that truth, we need to have our moments of discomfort. And bring a deeper conscious awareness to what we're saying, what we're claiming, who we are and how we're expressing, and what we're embodying. So, reach out to me if you want to have a conversation. If you're loving the podcast, please like and follow. If you're on YouTube listening, please subscribe. Happy journeys to you. So much love. And remember, the power of change and choice is always and has always been in your hands. Join me on my next episode. And if you love this podcast, please subscribe by clicking on the plus button if you're on Apple, or like and follow on Spotify. Rate and review. And please share Inner Voice of Knowing with your friends.